All right, welcome into Off the Radar, where we take a look at some stories around the world of sports that aren't necessarily what we're mostly talking about, which is college football realignment. That's basically been the show now for the last, I don't know what, guys, 5 weeks or so. And so there's a lot we don't get to because we're spending, most of the 3 hours talking about the same topic. But it's been great, and now this is what this segment is for, is to take a look at some other stuff. I got to start off by asking Paul, did you see the new Spider-Man trailer?
6 times.
6 times? Is that all you watched it?
Yes,
Only 6?
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Excited.
So you liked it?
Yeah, I liked it. I'm very excited.
Okay.
They're bringing it all together. So, yeah, I'm pumped.
I'm going to assume you did not watch the new Spider-Man trailer, but basically everybody did. It was trending all day yesterday. Like, they had leaked it initially, and then it finally did come out officially. But it looks pretty sick. It looks like it's going to be amazing. I think it's got 1 billion views at this point already on YouTube. But that was just a little entertainment thing that came out. It's been a hot topic, and looking forward to seeing that one when it comes out. So you'd heard the story about J.R. Smith and attempting to go back to college, right? He was talking about, going back to school. He was going to play golf, and, he needed to get cleared. He had to go through the whole NCAA clearinghouse process and eligibility-wise and all of that. But J.R. Smith has been cleared, and J.R. North Carolina A&T golf team, freshman walk-on, age 35. So he's suiting up. It's all official. He's good to go. He's cleared, and he'll be a 35-year-old college golf athlete. So good for J.R. Smith.
I think he had a beard when he was 3.
Yeah.
He's always had that just full beard that looks like he had it when he was 3 years old. He was a heck of a player, sometimes a little bit out there.
He was not my favorite normally. No. Yeah,
Didn't he eventually win a championship? Was it with Cleveland?
Yeah, he was with LeBron along the way.
Also cost him one, too.
Yeah, also cost LeBron a title.
Yeah.
Absolutely did do that. If you'll remember the whole not knowing how much time was left on the clock thing. Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yep, I do.
Okay.
Yep, I do. I do.
Yeah, so anyways, he is enrolled at the HBCU, North Carolina A&T, after 16 years in the league, and he was actually going to be a member of North Carolina's basketball program originally. He was going to go play for Roy Williams, but ended up going straight to the pros, and so that's why he never did. So he ends up in North Carolina going to school, just a different North Carolina, but there's some resolution to that, so that's cool for him. The Pac-12 Conference has announced that they have signed a multi-year pact with Ben's Deschutes Beer to become the official craft beer of the Pac-12 Conference.
The official craft beer of the Pac-12 Conference.
That's where we are now. I have no desire to, I don't know anything about that beer, but I just find it interesting that we're now in college athletics talking about the official craft beer of an entire power conference. It's just interesting how much things change over time.
We've got a couple of people here, Brotherwell, and of course, Three Nations. We need to get them on that, like the official beer of the... Well, I don't know if I'd want to be the official beer of the Big 12 just yet.
I would, because you'd have the most popular. What conference is drinking more right now than the Big 12? Honestly.
But they're going heavier.
Yeah. They might need
tequila, vodka, rum, bourbon,
exactly.
whiskey.
You might need the official cocaine of the Big 12 if it keeps going this bad.
No kidding. No, but they now have an official craft beer of the Pac-12, so Ben's Deschutes Beer. The NFL, gambling has become a very hot topic in sports, especially pro sports, and it's been an issue that they've just been kind of wanting to wade through and not, I think, make it all about betting. And so initially it looks as though the NFL is going to cap commercials on gambling to at least 6 advertisements per game, based on Jason Barrett and Barrett Sports Media. They want to ensure that sports betting ads don't overwhelm game broadcast at the outset, so you will only see 6 betting ads per game. I imagine that will probably go up, and I'm very interested to know just how much gambling, if at all, changes things. You see now, like, certain stadiums have, like, their gambling room, and it's just, It's not that strange to me, but for somebody who grew up in the Pete Rose era, is it not really bizarre to you to see, like, there's, official sponsors of casinos and official gambling partner of the NFL and things like that? Is that strange to you at all?
No, it is. It is. That was verboten for a long, long time. Now, gambling on yourself or gambling on your team, it's kind of across. I think baseball still has that, but there's 2 things that, as my age, that I've seen change. Well, now 3 or 4. Gambling ads, marijuana, which is kind of now looked the other way when it comes to some professional sports. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. It's NIL.
Yeah, it's
paying athletes in college. I mean, straight up cash. Those are things you got to remember. I'm 62. I've seen it where that just never was going to happen, and all three have just gone whoosh to the other side.
Yeah. It is strange. It is strange to me to see that, but also I think let's open up part of the reason when you ban gambling so much is then it creates this like backdoor for illegal gambling so much. And now if you legitimize it, like it is like with one of our great sponsors, BetUS, if you have that kind of things, but if you have those kind of things, that makes it better. And then it's regulated and monitored as opposed to the under the table stuff that was going on. So yeah, I think plus the other thing, it's not weird for me to see that as the economy ever changes, where can you get the most money out of? That's where you're going to go. Yeah. So if casinos are going to give you money and sponsor your league, and you're going to have places, like DraftKings or FanDuel or whoever sponsor your league, they're going to do it. And Europe, they've been doing it forever. And I mean, British soccer teams sponsored by casinos all over the place. There's places in the stadium where you can go place a bet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, it's just it's interesting. So they're not going to overload. Basically, it's not a huge no by any means, but basically they're being mindful of the viewer out there. So you're only going to see a sparing few gambling commercials throughout NFL broadcasts, but they do say in the beginning, and we'll see how much that expands. But I mean, yeah, it was basically it's like NIL. It's like players were getting money behind closed doors, like you're saying, and now it's just all out there in the wide open. There was gambling going on in sports the entire time, and now they're just being, open about it. Did y'all, I doubt you did, but see the NFL top 100 on Desean Watson? Did you see that little?
I heard he was rated pretty high, except for the fact he's not going to play this year, probably.
Yeah, it was really bizarre. So the NFL's doing their top 100 players countdown that they always do. They do it every single summer, and they got to number 18 overall, and it was Desean Watson, and there was a little video, and it was kind of strange, and it had, the voice, nobody knows when Desean Watson will take the field again. And then it was very strange. It was not, you didn't have players talking about him like other players, or how they do that?
Yep.
Like Chase Young's talking about Lamar Jackson or whatever. It was just all very awkward, and just the whole Desean Watson thing is awkward to begin with. But
there was also a survey among some writers in The Athletic about the quarterback position as far as power, arm strength, mobility, brains, all that. And he was listed quite a bit. And then they always had to have at the end an asterisk.
Yeah.
That he was included, but he may not play this year. No, he's not going to play.
Yeah, so they had a video like they did for everybody else, but they didn't have, like I said, the guys commentating on it. It was just kind of clunky, quite frankly. They had some narrated highlights or whatever, but there was no what they refer to as sound on tape or anything like that. So I guess instead of just skipping over him, which they could have easily done and people would have been understanding of that, they just had this awkward, hey, he's number 17. So we'll see where he ranks on that list next year. Probably not on the list at all. Maybe he is, maybe he gets cleared. That's for the courts to decide and all that. But it was just a weird
How many years now have we gone without the NFL having some sort of massive legal story, from Deflategate to whatever else, to the Saints to Bountygate? How many years have we been able to go without something like this? Whether it's
every year,
and now with Deshaun Watson or whoever it might have been, it just seemed like every
COVID,
year something just takes over.
Even during COVID, you thought maybe it's lesser because you can't see people, but Antonio Brown certainly, broke that. So, it's always going to be every year.
Yeah, it's just they probably would have been better served to just hop over him. But if he got voted or placed there or whatever, then that's the way that it is. This was from a couple of days ago, but University of Hawaii Athletics has announced that they're not going to have any fans in attendance. That is something that obviously has to do with the coronavirus. So University of Hawaii announced 2 days ago they will have no fans due to the state's recent record surge in COVID cases. The decision applies to all UH fall sports, including football, at the Clarence T.C. Ching Athletics Complex. So that's Hawaii's decision. No fans, period, this fall, which is weird because they're out there on their own island. But then LSU today announced that they are going to require proof of vaccination to enter the stadium and to be in attendance at games this year. So that is something that has been talked about quite a bit as far as how colleges were going to handle that. But LSU is the first to come out and say they're mandating vaccine proof and a negative PCR test for fans entering their stadium this fall.
I want to get clarification on that because I thought I saw, they could do whatever they want, but I thought they saw it was like a timeline as well. Like you have to prove that it was like in a certain amount of time.
72 hours.
So if you had a vaccine in March, that doesn't count or does it count?
No, that counts. So I think it's proof of. So you have proof of vaccination or a negative PCR test in the last 72 hours.
Those who have not yet received the dose of COVID-19 vaccine must present digital or hard copy proof of a negative COVID test within 72 hours of kickoff. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So the state apparently has had more than 10,000 cases as of Monday. There's an increase, and that's why they're doing that. Guests will need to show proof of having at least one dose of the vaccine, and those without will need the 72-hour PCR test. Like you said, masks encouraged for guests between 5 and 11.
And with the Pfizer full approval that happened yesterday, you're going to see more and more government entities, state entities, private business, people who can, requiring the vaccine because now the hindrance to it, a lot of not requiring it, was it didn't have full approval. Well, now that one of the vaccines has full approval and one of them probably not as far behind, you're going to see more and more things like that. The Pentagon's requiring all soldiers get vaccinated for COVID-19. So if you're in the military, you have to do it. So this is going to happen more and more.
Yeah, just a heads up to LSU fans or people heading out to their games.
LSU fans will kill the virus with the liquor.
Yeah, of course.
They don't need a vaccine.
No, of course not.
They're like immune to that.
Yeah, Texas has joined a pretty big brand as far as this name, image, likeness stuff goes. This was a few days ago, but Texas launched group licensing via the Brander Group. There was a few other teams that had already signed up with the Brander Group. I want to say it was like Ohio State, and there was one or two others perhaps, or something similar to that. But basically what this means is that when you go to a Texas game this fall, you can buy a jersey that has a player's name on the back and has their actual number. You can buy T-shirts with the player's name or their image or their likeness, etc. So basically now, you walk in the pro shop at your stadium, and if there's, let's say it was here in Waco and there was a Gary Bohannon jersey hanging there, that would be a first because we've never seen anything like that. But in Texas' case, you can do that. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of people that take up on it, and then, of course, they'll split some of the proceeds. I'm not sure how that'll all be figured out, but some of the money will go to the players. So that's another little pull for UT as far as the name, image, likeness stuff goes. A couple days ago, Tyler Smith, number 8 prospect in the class of 2023 basketball, signed with Overtime Elite. Be represented by Chris Gaston and Fam First Sports. He is the 7th 5-star recruit to join OTE. And I do believe that he has actually a couple years of high school left at this point. So he is going to be heading to the because he's class of 2023. So he's got a couple years left, and he is going to be going to the pro route after signing with Overtime Elite. And you talk about something we're going to see more and more and more of. Well, that's some of the stuff we're going to see more and more and more of. Smith is the 16th player to sign with OTE, the league's 7th 5-star recruit. He actually was considering Baylor and Texas and Florida State, among others, but said he never wanted to play college basketball. This will get him ready faster. They've been telling me they have NBA facilities, trainers, and nutritionists from NBA teams. So
I'm not sure I like that they've been telling me.
Well,
why would you
OTE.
not visit to make sure? I'm sure they do, but that's a little.
And
bit.
this is Overtime Elite. It's looking at itself as an alternative to for the high school prospects and for international basketball prospects. They announced their opening in March, and they've got a bunch of backing. Kevin Ollie's involved with it. Former NBA execs are involved with it. They're going to start up in September in Atlanta, and will train and play against academies and prep schools in the U.S. and internationally. And they'll have 24 players split into 3 teams and will play against each other as well. So.
Speaking of 5-star, I saw where North Carolina, this is Mac Brown doing what he does, recruit the hell out of people. Just keeping kids in state. Travis Shaw from Greensboro, North Carolina, Grimsley High School, the 4th overall player, number 2 defensive lineman in the class of 2022, picked North Carolina over Clemson. So that's another recruiting story as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're top 10 right now. I mean, Mac Brown can recruit. We know that. So, yeah, I mean, if that would have been basketball, that would have made even more sense. But, no, that's what he's doing now in football as well. But, this is a kid who probably could have gone to North Carolina to play basketball, and instead they're just skipping college altogether. And in this name, image, likeness world, that's more of an enticement. But is it really going to be enough of an enticement? Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's my next to last story, the final one being – on trading cards. And this is not a brand new card has been, sold for $3 million, some Honus Wagner with a bent corner, anything like that. It's instead about the end of an era. MLB and Fanatics have struck a licensing agreement over trading cards. What this means is that Topps is done after 70 years of producing Major League Baseball cards. They will no longer be producing MLB
I'm done.
Cards.
That's it.
The Fanatics brand will start to...
all I've ever known.
Well, I mean, I guess you still have some time left because Fanatics will not fully get underway until 2026, but it is the end of a 70-year run for Topps.
That's a bummer. Love Topps.
They've been going on about as long as I've been alive. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just found that interesting. A lot of card collectors out there who are probably Topps fans. They've been in... the Major League Baseball games since the 1950s, so 70 years later, and there will now be Fanatics in charge of MLB baseball cards. So those are just a few stories that were off the radar.
Thank you very much, Craig. I saw where the girl, Sha'Carri Richardson, is that right?
Oh, yeah,
LSU, who was, remember, she was not allowed to go compete, then she came back. She got smoked literally by Elaine Thompson-Herah and others. Finished dead last in the 100, then pulled out of the 200. From Chris on the Twitter. It's odd part is I can't play DraftKings in Texas, but I can use BetUS, which I just joined, used Sick'em 125.
Oh, thank you,